Stars fans, when your best offensive player is rookie Arttu Hyry and your biggest hit of the game was probably made by Jason Robertson, you're not going to win that game. The Stars were just outplayed. We were out hit to the tune of 31-14. We were outshot to the tune of 30-18. So that's just when you're getting outshot and out hit by double, you're not going to win a game. Just plain and simple. And I wasn't impressed with the win against the Pittsburgh Penguins that we had prior. Let's be honest, that was a 4-3 game, and if Bixel hadn't stolen the stick off of Carlson, we may not have won that game. If you're not cheating, you're not trying, right? But still, it, not impressed with it. And we in that game we only had 12 hits as well, so we've had a combined 26 hits between the last two games. These are the kind of numbers that we had when we were the softest team in the NHL for large stretches in the depths of our despair in the middle part of the season. And that is not a good sign. What got this team back into playing good hockey was when we upped our physicality and we were emotionally invested in the game, and we just weren't there. To give you an idea, they had a player on their team, Garnet Hathaway, who had 10 hits on the night. So almost as many hits as our entire team, one player. I don't think I've ever seen 10 hits in a game by a player, but that that's the kind of urgency they had, right? They're a team that's fighting for a playoff spot, and my concern was is that through this stretch of East Coast where it's all teams that are fighting for playoff spots, that we were not going to be able to match the sense of urgency that these teams have. And you've got to manufacture it somehow. Whether that's having a line brawl or whatever the case, you got to manufacture some kind of emotional investment. And the Stars just haven't been able to do that. And I don't want them going into the playoffs the way that we did last year. We somehow got away with it last year. But your typical team does not do well backing into the playoffs. And I don't want to see us do that this year. So we're ahead of Minnesota by 6 points right now. Games are even if I'm not mistaken. So we're okay-ish for now, but that could change. Remember, we got big games. Don't count out this game against Boston that we play next. Same situation. Team that's fighting for playoffs, a physical team, even more physical than the Flyers. They beat Minnesota 6-3, I think, the other night. And if we're not careful, we're gonna continue this skid through the entirety of the East Coast swing. We've now lost 5 of 6, 6 of 8. Okay, that's not good. That is that is a legitimate skid, and uh, I think we had some good things that we had going. Really, mainly one good thing. DeSmith played well. Not as good as Urson, but he played well. And then Huru has been an amazing surprise for the Stars. He had the one goal of the game for the Stars, which was on a shorthanded, opportunistic play where the Flyers made a number of mistakes, and he ends up coming out with the puck in or around the offensive blue line for us, and wins a puck race against their player, comes ripping down the side and just tears a wrister high glove past Urson. Beautiful goal scorer's goal. I knew he had a good shot. We saw that the other night where on late in the game where he's got a lot of pepper on that pill, but I didn't know that he had that kind of accuracy, and that is a good thing when you got a player like him that is a cost controlled, low cap space, depth player that we can go to next year, right? I think you could maybe even consider him playing over a player like Blackwell right now, um, because he's got more offensive ability, finishing ability than Blackwell does, and he doesn't he's not as defensively liable as Blackwell either. But um, and that can for sure be something that we look into next year. Blackwell's inconsistent to me. I think he's the weak link of our bottom six. Uh, if there's one player that just doesn't bring enough consistency, he's physical, but sometimes not at all. Most of the time, not at all. He he's fast. He gets a lot of breakaways. He probably has more breakaways between him and Steele, right, than anybody else on our team with their speed. But they just can't capitalize on it. So, maybe we look this year and or next to replace Blackwell with a younger player with a little more upside and like a Huru. He's been great on the face-off dot for us, and just a really good. He's been on the penalty kill. He he's been a godsend to this team that has been banged up. Right, we can't get through a game right now without losing another forward, and it was no different in this last game. We lost Bunting, which I guess if you're going to lose a player, Bunting is probably the least bad to lose in a lot of ways right now. Maybe, but before that, it was Bastion. Before that, it was Steele. I think three players in 3 games that we've lost. And we had a scare that we might have lost Myers, who got hit and went to the dressing room and didn't come back for a while. So this team just cannot catch a break. We've had 2 years of injury parades, and at this point, you just got to hope for the best and cross your fingers that this team is healthy going into the playoffs. And I hope that especially if we lock down home ice and it looks like we can, this is a big if, lock down that race with Minnesota, that they don't do anything dumb and play. Remember last year when they played Robertson in the last game of the year and he took a hit to the knee and we lost him for a good chunk of time? I don't want to do that again. I hope that we learn from our mistakes. Um, the Dallas Stars, one of the other things I've noticed is that we had another late power play, and we just haven't been converting on these gifts from the gods of late power plays. Some of them have been double minors. We got another one, I think it was in the last 3 minutes or so and change of the game, and we just couldn't do it. We we were 0 for 2 on the power play. We let the worst power play in the league score on us. And so we lost the special teams battle to a Philadelphia team. Look, a desperate team is dangerous no matter what. But when you look at this Philadelphia team, we should have beat them. We should have beat them. They're the number 23 offense in the league. Their defense is middle of the pack, 12th. Their power play is the worst in the league. Their penalty kill is bottom third of the league. Their goaltending was 23rd in the league. Their top scorer has less than a point a game, Travis Konechny. Their top goal scorer is Owen Tippett, and he has 27 goals on the year. We've got 2 players who have 50% more goals than he does. This is a team that you should be beating when you're the Dallas Stars. You should be beating, especially when you got Mikko Rantanen back. And our top players just didn't come through for us tonight. They just didn't. And we've got to look ourselves in the mirror, and we've got to ask what we're made of, and how do we want to show up to these playoffs? Do we want to show up as the team that mailed it in and just coasted into the playoffs and didn't give it what we should have down the stretch? I sure hope not. I really hope not. Our next game is against Boston here tomorrow, and that's going to be a tough one, guys. That's going to be a tough one. We desperately need to get this train back on the tracks. Here on the foil, I'm here to cover all of the goings on between here and the end of the season for you, and y'all have a great day.